Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books, where we get the rare privilege of being able to associate with a liberated soul who was empowered to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. It was his plot that he would uplift the human society through the mass distribution of his literatures, the transcendental books that he translated and commented upon. And so far so good. It's only been, since we started distributing books, it was been about 50 years? Maybe a little less, because we didn't start distributing the books in a mass way for a few years. Let's say 70. 70 to, what is that? 1970 to 19, that's 49 years. Anyway, close to 50. So already, our movement has more than 800 centers around the world. And relatively speaking, it's doing really well compared to other spiritual movements. It took Christianity 300 years to get their act together. Okay, so we have a house full of spiritual seekers. Lee, Vicky, Radha Raman, the boy, Bhakta Alex, and Radha Hari has come from Wales to save the day. Hare Krishna. Welcome to all of you, and welcome to all of you out there in cyberspace. We are ready, good to go, as we say. Siri's trying to horn in on here. Forget it, Siri. You have to do some sadhana first. Okay. Sanatana Goswami glorified the Srimad-Bhagavatam in 5 verses out of 416 verses, the Sri Krishna Lila Stava. These 5 verses text 412 to 416, form the 107th obeisance that he planned, Sanatana Goswami, to offer to the Srimad-Bhagavatam, specifically to the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. Therefore it's called the Sri Krishna Lila Stava. And it goes like this. Sarva Shastabdipi Yusha, Sarva Vedaika Satpala, Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja, Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana, Srimad Bhagavata Prabho, Kalidvandodita Ditya, Sri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master, Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya, Prema Varshaksharayate, Sarvada Sarvasevyaya, Sri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Madeka Bando Matsangin, Madguru Man Mahadana, Man Nishtadaga Mad Bhagya, Mad Ananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu, saduta dayin, atini chuchatakada, hanamun chagadachin mam, prem narit Kanta Yospura. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. As I explained last night, we've reached the 60th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam, which is just where we started about going on 2 years ago. And the first, we're starting out at text 38 because it's a pretty long chapter, and we could only get through half of it last night. In this chapter, Lord Krishna teases Queen Rukmini. This is where it all comes from, kids. You know, like sometimes married couples, they'll do something to get a rise out of their partner. Isn't it? They want to see a little different mood. It's not always the same all the time. You got a little variety, so they, throw a spanner in the works, or something Mickey. Take a Mickey. Take the Mickey. They take the Mickey out of somebody, or somebody wind them up a little bit. So Krishna's been doing that with Rukmini, as in a joking way, but wanting that response. This is the nature of conjugal relationships, and now we know where it comes from. It comes from Krishna and Radharani, Krishna and Rukmini. So Rukmini takes it seriously and faints out of fear that Krishna was going to leave her, because he's saying, why didn't you pick a better husband than me? I mean, look at me, Nobody knows what I am. Am I a warrior? Am I a cowherd boy? Am I this or am I that? I don't have any identity in social life. I don't own anything. The only people who follow me are beggars, renunciates, Anyway, so many reasons. And then, after Queen Rukmini faints, Krishna, of course, has a change of heart. Oh my gosh, what have I done? And he has 4 arms when he wants to, and he manifests those 4 extra arms so he can hold her and do this and do that at the same time with all 4 arms. So she gets relieved and she gets pacified, and then she does exactly what he wanted her to do, and that's defeat him on every single point. So that's what she's doing. She's taking each one of Krishna's points and pointing it out that actually it's a glorification of him, not the opposite. So we're in text 38. Put on your thinking caps. It's pretty deep stuff. This is Rukmini talking to Krishna. You are the embodiment of all human goals and are yourself the final aim of life. Desiring to attain you, the all-powerful Lord, intelligent persons abandon everything else. It is they who are worthy of your association, not men and women absorbed in the pleasure of grief resulting from their mutual lust. Purport. Here, Queen Rukmini refutes Lord Krishna's statement in text 15. Yayor Atma Samam Vitam Janmaishwarya Kritir Babaha Tayor Vibaho Maitri Cha Naruta Dhammayo Kvachit. Marriage and friendship are proper between two people who are equal in terms of their wealth, birth, influence, physical appearance, and capacity for good progeny, but never between a superior and an inferior. In fact, only those who have given up all such material conceptions of sense gratification and have taken exclusively to the Lord's loving service can understand who their real friend and companion is, Lord Sri Krishna himself. Text 39. Knowing that the great sages who have renounced the sannyasi's danda proclaim your glories, that you are the supreme soul of all the worlds, and that you are so gracious that you give away even your own self, I chose you as my husband, rejecting Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the rulers of heaven, whose aspirations are all frustrated by the force of time, which is born from your eyebrows. What interest then could I have in any other suitors? Purport. This is Queen Rukmini's refutation of Lord Krishna's statement in text 16. There, Lord Krishna said, Bhikshubi shlagita mudha, I am glorified by beggars. But Queen Rukmini points out that those so-called beggars are actually sages in the Paramahansa stage of life. Sannyasis who have reached the highest level of spiritual advancement and thus given up the sannyas rod. Lord Krishna also made two specific accusations against his wife in text 16. He said, Vaidarbhyetad avigyaya. My dear Vaidarbhi, you were not aware of the situation, and tvaya dirga samikshaya, because you lack foresight. In the present verse, Rukmini's statement, iti me vrito, see, indicates I chose you as my husband because you possess all the above mentioned qualities. It was not a blind choice at all. Rukmini further mentions that she passed over lesser personalities like Brahma, Shiva, and the rulers of heaven because she saw that even though materially speaking they are great personalities, they are frustrated by the powerful waves of time which emanate from the eyebrows of Lord Krishna. Therefore, far from lacking foresight, Rukmini chose Lord Krishna after an exhaustive appraisal of the entire cosmic situation. Thus, she lovingly rebukes her husband here. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti interprets Rukmini's mood as follows. My dear husband, your accusation that I lack foresight indicates that you did not know of my deep insight into the situation. This is tough stuff here. A little tough love going on here. Actually, I chose you because I knew of your true glories. Text 40. I think Rukmini is getting the better of Krishna here. Do you think? I think so. My Lord, as a lion drives away lesser animals to claim his proper tribute, you drove off the assembled kings with the resounding twang of your Sharanga bow, and then claimed me, your fair share. Thus, it is sheer foolishness, my dear Gadagraja, for you to say that you took shelter in the ocean out of fear of those kings. Purport. Who said women are less intelligent? Purport. In text 12 of this chapter, Lord Krishna said, Raja bhyo bijatak sabru samudram sharanam gatan. Terrified of those kings, we went to the ocean for shelter. According to the Acharyas, Lord Krishna finally provoked Rukmini's anger by glorifying other men who might have been her husband. And thus, in an agitated mood, she here tells him that she is not ignorant, but rather that he has spoken foolishly. She states, "Like a lion you abducted me in the presence of those kings and drove them away with your Shanga bow. So it is simply foolishness to say that out of fear of those same kings you went to the ocean." According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, as Queen Rukmini spoke these words, she frowned and cast angry, sidelong glances at the Lord. Text 41. You ever seen any of those? No, I don't suppose you did. Text 41. Wanting your association, the best of kings, Anga, Vainya, Jayanta, Nahusha, Gaya, and others, abandoned their absolute sovereignty and entered the forest to seek you out. How could those kings suffer frustration in this world, O lotus-eyed one? Purport. Here Queen Rukmini refutes the ideas put forth by Lord Krishna in text 13. In fact, Srimati Rukmini Devi repeats Lord Krishna's own words. The Lord said, "Astitat padavim subru payak siddhanti yoshitaha." Women who follow my path generally suffer. Here Rukmini Devi says, "Siddhanti te nudapadabin ta ihastitakyam." Why should those fixed on your path suffer in this world? She gives the example of many great kings who renounced their powerful sovereignty to enter the forest, where they performed austerities and worshipped the Lord, intensely desiring his transcendental association. Thus, according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, Srimati Rukmini Devi here intends to tell Sri Krishna, "You have said that I, a king's daughter, am unintelligent and frustrated because I married you? But how can you accuse all these great enlightened kings of being unintelligent? They were the wisest of men, yet they gave up everything to follow you and were certainly not frustrated by the result. Indeed, they achieved the perfection of your association." 42. The aroma of your lotus feet, which is glorified by great saints, awards people liberation and is the abode of Goddess Lakshmi. What woman would take shelter of any other man after savoring that aroma? Since you are the abode of transcendental qualities, what mortal woman with the insight to distinguish her own true interest would disregard that fragrance and depend instead on someone who is always subject to terrible fear? Purport. In text 16, Lord Krishna claimed that he was Gunayar Hina, bereft of all good qualities. To refute this claim, the devoted Rukmini here states that the Lord is Gunalaya, the abode of all good qualities. In a single moment, the so-called powerful men of this world can be reduced to utter helplessness and confusion. Indeed, destruction is the inevitable fate of all powerful masculine bodies. The Lord, however, has an eternal spiritual body that is omnipotent and infinitely beautiful. And thus, as Queen Rukmini argues here, how can any sane, enlightened woman take shelter of anyone but the Supreme Lord Krishna? (43) Because you are suitable for me, I have chosen you, the master of the supreme soul of all the worlds, who fulfill our desires in this life and the next. May your feet, which give freedom from illusion by approaching their worshipper, give shelter to me, who have been wandering from one material situation to another. Purport. An alternate reading for the word Sritibi is Shrutibi, in which case the idea Rukmini expresses is this: I have been bewildered by hearing from various religious scriptures about numerous rituals and ceremonies with their promises of fruitive results. Srila Sridhar Swami gives this explanation, while Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti give an additional idea. Rukmini might express with the word Shrutibi, My dear Lord Krishna, I was bewildered by hearing about your various incarnations. I heard that when you descended as Rama, you abandoned your wife Sita, and that in this life you abandoned the gopis. Thus, I was bewildered. It is understood that Srimati Rukmini Devi is the eternally liberated consort of Lord Krishna. But in these verses, she humbly plays the part of immortal woman taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. Text 44. O infallible Krishna, let each of the kings you named become the husband of a woman whose ears have never heard your glories, which are sung in the assemblies of Shiva and Brahma. After all the households of such women, these kings, after all, in the households of such women, these kings live like asses, oxen, dogs, cats, and slaves. Purport. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, these fiery words of Queen Rukmini are a response to Lord Krishna's opening statement found in text 10 of the chapter. The Supreme Lord had said, My dear princess, you were sought after by many kings as powerful as the rulers of planets. They were all abundantly endowed with political influence, wealth, beauty, generosity, and physical strength. According to Sridhar Swami, Queen Rukmini here speaks with anger, pointing her index finger at the Lord. She compares the so-called great princes to asses because they carry many material burdens, to oxen because they are always distressed while performing their occupational duties, to dogs because their wives disrespect them, to cats because they are selfish and cruel, and to slaves because they are servile in family affairs. Such kings may appear desirable to a foolish woman who has not heard or understood the glories of Sri Krishna. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti adds,